Today I want to talk about something really profound. We're going to look at those incredible quiet moments when, right in the middle of all the noise and chaos of war, our shared humanity just finds a way to speak up.
Think about it. This is really the basic idea behind any war, isn't it? An order is given, a line is drawn in the sand, and suddenly, the person on the other side, well, they're not a person anymore. They're a target, a stranger you're supposed to hate. But, and this is where our story really gets interesting, there are these incredible moments in history where people just refused. Not with big speeches or grand protests, but in small, unbelievably courageous acts when soldiers remembered they were human beings first. So, let's go back in time. We're heading into one of the darkest chapters of modern history to find a little flicker of light in a place you would absolutely never expect to see it. Picture this. The year is 1914. All of Europe is just on fire. The Great War has started, and it's swallowing up an entire generation of young men in a way the world had never, ever seen before. Just imagine what that was like. Cold, wet mud, the constant noise, and this ever-present fear of death. The two sides were stuck in these trenches, separated by a scarred, broken piece of earth they called no man's land. Sometimes they were just a few hundred feet apart. I mean, close enough to actually hear someone cough on the other side. These men, they had never met. They were from different villages, spoke different languages, but their only job, the only reason they were there, was to try and kill each other. Simple as that. But then, on one bitterly cold winter night, Christmas Eve of 1914, something completely unexpected happened. Something, you might even say, impossible. The whole rhythm of the war was about to just stop. And what broke the silence? It wasn't an order being shouted. It wasn't the sound of an attack. It was a song. A Christmas carol, actually. Still Nacht, Silent Night. A single human voice rising up from the German trenches and cutting right through all that hatred. And think about how it all unfolded. So simple, really. That one voice sings, the British soldiers, hearing this, they start to applaud. And then they answer back with one of their own carols. And for the first time in months along that part of the front, the guns just stopped. This is when everything changed. Men literally climbed out of their muddy trenches, but they weren't carrying rifles. They were carrying chocolates, cigarettes, little gifts. They met in the middle of no man's land, shaking hands, sharing pictures of their families. For just one night, there were no enemies. There were just men. But of course, a moment like this, it's fragile. It couldn't last forever. The sun came up on Christmas morning, and with it, the brutal reality of the war returned. The generals were furious when they heard about it, and the orders came down loud and clear. The fighting had to start again. So yes, the war machines started up again, but you have to believe that for those men, something deep inside them had shifted forever. They had seen the face of their enemy, and it looked exactly like their own. And you know what's fascinating? This impulse, this deep-seated human need to just stop and question it all, it's not new, not at all. Let's travel even further back to a completely different battlefield and see this very same dilemma play out. We're going now to ancient India, to the epic Mahabharata. And here, the battlefield is not just about land or power, it's about family, about duty, about everything. See, this wasn't a war against some foreign enemy. This was a civil war, a family tearing itself apart. You had the Pandavas on one side and their own cousins, the Kauravas, on the other. The field was filled with people who knew each other, who had grown up together, who even loved each other. And right there, in the middle of it all, is the great warrior Arjuna, the finest archer in the world. And he just freezes. He looks out and sees his granduncle, his beloved teacher, his own kin, all ready to fight him. And the thought of killing them to win a kingdom, it just breaks him. His weapon, his famous Gandiva bow, it just slips from his hand. He says, "I will not fight." And this is the moment. His guide, his charioteer, who is actually the Lord Krishna in disguise, he doesn't just yell, "Fight." No. He starts this incredible conversation, a deep spiritual teaching that we now know as the Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna tells him the real battle isn't out there on the field, it's inside of him. It's the battle against anger, against ego. He says, do your duty, Arjuna, but do it without hate in your heart.
Okay, so a muddy trench in Europe and an ancient, epic battlefield in India. What on earth connects these two stories? Let's pull on those threads.
I mean, the situations feel worlds apart, right? In 1914, you have strangers who found a common thread of humanity. At Kurukshetra, you have a warrior who pauses before fighting his own family. But look at the core of it. In both cases, the machinery of war halted. One moment of peace was found through an outward connection. The other was found through a deep internal search for wisdom. And maybe that's the real truth here, the one that ties it all together across thousands of years. Our humanity. It doesn't just vanish in a war. It gets buried, deep down. But it's always there, waiting for a song or a question to bring it back to the surface. So after all this, what are we left with? What's the real lesson from these quiet little moments of peace in the middle of all the violence?
You know, we always remember the wars for their big battles, their violence. We build statues for the winners. But maybe, just maybe, the real story of who we are, our true character, is found in these tiny moments when we choose not to fight. Think about it. Those soldiers in 1914, they didn't ask for permission to be peaceful. Arjuna didn't wait for his cousins to agree before he had his moment of doubt. In those moments, peace wasn't a treaty, it was a choice, a spontaneous, personal choice. And maybe that's what it all comes down to. Courage. You know, we often think courage is about fighting harder, about charging forward. But what if the greatest act of courage on any battlefield is to lower your weapon, to see the human being on the other side, and to ask, even for a second, if maybe, just maybe, there's another way?